How's it going? Time for another unboxing video. We haven't done one in a while. In all fairness, we haven't really done any orders for quite a while. You know, we've been pretty well stocked with what we've needed, but it's getting to be that time of year. You know, we're getting kind of middle of the late summer, and we're starting to see, okay, we're running out of certain boilies, we're running out of certain baits and things like that. But also there's some new things that we have the chance to get our hands on. So we're jumping at it, trying to get them used before we get too cold weather, get too far into the fall. And then obviously we'll go on the buying spree in the winter time. But for now, this particular unboxing is from Monster Carp Tackle. Big thanks to them, by the way, for actually getting it here so fast. So I got my handy dandy utility knife. I'm just going to open this package up. Didn't really plan to get a better knife handy, and the good knife that's in my tackle bag is actually in the van, and my wife took the van to work, so we're gonna make do with what we got here. There we go. No bubble wrap. Oh well, I guess I'll survive. All right, so the first thing I can see, we have a package of the ESP two-tone strip tees in 25-pound camo. I am almost out of coated braid, and we've been doing really well, so we're going through a lot of rigs, and wanted to try something new. So I thought I'd try the strip tees, seeing as it was accessible to me. And yeah, I love the camo. I find that it doesn't just, any hook link that we've used in the camo patterns or the green patterns, they work on every bottom, the silt, the weed, and the gravel. I like using the gravel colored hook link that we were using, almost out of that actually. But that doesn't do as well when we happen to fish weed. So in some cases where I have a rig that's working, the hook stays sharp and I want to keep using it, if I cast to a different spot, it doesn't necessarily work. So I'm going to stick a little bit more with the weed color, I think, for the time being. So this will be a neat one to try. What else we got in here? We got packing stuff here. Ta-da! 1, 2, 3 kilos of the natural corn pellets. We went through our bag of corn pellets super fast, and like, man, talk about a response. Mixing it with a few other things, some other ground baits like the Robin Red or some crushed boilies. I don't know, the fish seem to be all over this stuff. So, had to get some more. Quite excited actually, because I want to catch fish tomorrow, and we need that. Should get a 3D camera for whenever I throw packing stuff. Okay, so let's see here. There's a few other things in here. Now, we're getting the ESP floating corn. I've always used them. I like them. They work. But we had to get 3 packs for a specific reason. And that reason is Goldie. Aside from the fact that he's been using what we call the Monster Carp Corn Witch, where he's been mixing the different Monster Carp corns and then putting it between 2 floating ESP corn to make almost like a chod rig or a pop-up rig, that's been deadly. It's actually been really catching a lot of fish. The problem is when we're getting into some of those fish and they're stripping the bait off the hair, we're losing the pop-up corn, or he's on a streak of losing rigs lately. Don't you agree with that, Goldie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I lost quite a few last weekend too. So we're both hitting a bad streak of losing rigs, mainly him. So we had to get 3 packs of the buoyant corn just so that we can kind of, go a couple more weeks, without running out. So always good to have. Glad we got some of that now. you get 1 pack for now. The rest of the packs we have to, you'll have to sign out. Okay, here we go. This is important, and I'll explain why. New baiting spoon. Our previous baiting spoon met a pretty violent demise, actually. Not only did the spoon shatter while I was trying to throw a spoonful of corn out. Hey, settle down, wind. I'm trying to do a video here. Yeah, the spoon just shattered in a couple of different places, just trying to lob some corn out. But the handle that we had on, the old net handle that we were using, also shattered in like 3 places. So it was quite a violent just kaboom in front of us, and then we've been out with it without a baiting spoon. So glad to get our hands on a new one of those. Yeah. So not just one piece.
No, there's 4 or 5 pieces floating out there. Just obliterated.
That will be all gooed up with corn and boilies and pellets tomorrow. You know what, I'm going to leave those in there because they're heavy and they're weighing the box down. So this is something we wanted to try. Not sure if you saw the most recent video yet of our carp run chaos that we ran into, but my 6-year-old $5 Dunlop alarms that I got when I first started this European style carp fishing, you know, the bottoms of them are starting to strip. They're not sitting into the bank sticks or the pods anymore, and you know, I got to upgrade. So for day sessions, Goldie and I each got one of the new Monster Carp tackle alarms. And if you go over to the Monster Carp Tackle channel, you will actually see an instructional video on the details regarding these alarms. But we wanted to give them a try. The cool features that really drew us to them is, aside from watching the video that gave the details, you know, it sounded good. It has the kind of settings that we need. It has built-in snag ears, big selling feature for me. And unlike a lot of the other alarms that we have to use over here in Canada as opposed to the UK, batteries are really tricky. So with these, just a standard square battery, we can get those at the corner store, no problem. So easy to replace the batteries, built-in snag gears. You know, they're a little bit big, but they're no bigger than my Dunlop alarms, so they're not going to be any more bulky in the bag. So quite excited about those. Actually, we're going to use these. We're using these tomorrow, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So we had to do this video now because we're using these tomorrow. I'm actually really excited for that. Okay. I don't know how many times I've said it already, but Killa Vanilla has been my front runner in the boilie department all season. Pretty much right at the end of May I started using them after our really killer session using the corn, just because it smells amazing. It absolutely smells like something I want to eat. And we've caught a lot of carp with these, both you and I. Goldie. So I'm going to keep with this. Just one of these boilies with one little floating corn over a bed of maize, and it's driving the fish nuts. So we got a kilo of the 16 mil Killa Vanilla. And because pineapple was so great last year and is still catching this year, why not stick with it? We got a kilo of the pineapple as well. So that almost completes this particular unboxing. There is one more thing in here. So now I'm just going to throw the box out of the way. This, again, is partially Goldie's fault. He's been doing really well using the new stay. Goldie's been doing really well using the new Monster Carp Tackle 9-foot 2 3/4 test curve rod. And as much as I love my 12-footers, you know, I started out with a 9-footer. And with the fishing we've been doing this year, we haven't done more than 3 sessions in the same spot. So we've actually been going out and trying a lot of new spots that we really have to hike a long way into, backpack through the woods and get into some of these spots. The 12-foot rods are very difficult to not only maneuver through the bush to get into the spots, but then when we get into a spot, it's difficult for casting. We don't want to cut down too much in the the surrounding bush, overhanging trees, things like that. Obviously, we want to leave nature alone as much as possible, but at the same time, some of those features around the swims are what help keeping it hidden and help keeping it private for us. So I needed a new 9-foot rod. Now my old 9-footer is a 2.5 test curve. It's you know, a low end. It's a Carp Kinetics rod. It done me a lot of fish, even my first PB of 31 pounds. So I have a lot of loyalty to that rod, but it's not tough enough for the kind of fishing that I do now. So that one will probably get the mini SPOM on it for, you know, these tight little sessions where we're going through the woods and I still need to have a spod rod. That'll be for that one. For now, finally got my hands on the 9-foot 2 3/4 Monster Carp tackle rod, and the primary purpose of getting this rod is specifically for stocking, going in these little backpacking spaces, tight to get in swims, anywhere that a 12-footer is just not going to be practical. Stay down there. So one of the really cool features about this rod, I was lucky enough to actually land a couple of fish with goldies in a few different places, so the different size fish. This rod weighs nothing. It really does weigh absolutely nothing. It's super, super light. But for a 2 3/4 test curve, it's incredibly rigid. It has a super fast recovery on the cast. It actually casts really well. Goldie's been bombing them 50, 60 yards without even thinking about it. And it balances well. Whenever we put he puts his pretty heavy reel on there, and it seems cumbersome at first, but as soon as you set the hook into a fish, everything balances out and it feels really, really nice. So I'm actually quite excited to have gotten my hands on this. I'm going to throw one of my old reels on here and we're going to do some stocking, get into some of these tight swims, and I know that this is a rod that's going to handle it. You know, I love my Daiwas, I love my 12-footers. They have their place. This is going to have a new place in my arsenal. So that's it for now. I'm going to see what I can divvy up to Goldie, bit by bit. We'll get a sign out sheet, and yeah, we best get things together because it's starting to get late and we have fishing in the morning. So there you go for this unboxing video. Short, sweet, lots of cool stuff, and yeah, stick around. The next unboxing we might do could have all kinds of other goodies. Who knows from where? And we're out. This thing tickles my neck and I don't like it.